Hi friends. As you can tell, it's very early in the morning here. BDS in the background. Beautiful morning. I've got an important message the Lord's been laying on my heart. I've kind of been telling a few people recently about this thing that He revealed to me. Basically, if we view each other as better than ourselves, it's a lot easier to love each other. And real love, when it really comes to the crunch, real love always thinks the best of people. And it's a really important lesson, because when you think the best of someone, you don't make excuses for them, but you can see their point of view if they do wrong against you, if they're persecuting you, if they are abusing you in some way. You can look at them in a whole new light. You can either do it the worldly way, which is to be aggressive back and continue this vicious circle of hatred, like they're giving you hatred, and so you respond in a hateful way, in an aggressive way, in a wicked way, and it perpetuates the cycle, and it never ends. But once you, and this is what God does, he inserts the cross into that circle so it breaks it. And once it's broken by the cross, what you then have is this kind of line drawn where all of a sudden, with love and with respect and with gentleness and humility, you can respond to whoever it is, and you can break that cycle. And maybe in a worldly sense it's not fair, the person who's kind of like shoving, I don't know, hot needles under your fingernails trying to get you to talk and blaspheme God or something, or someone who's about to chop your head off for like being a Christian or something. That person, it's hard to do, but Jesus says we've got to love our enemies, right? And I'm telling you, this is the way to do it. It's to think the best of that person. You don't know what circumstances brought that person to that place. How the devil has tricked them, because we fight not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and spiritual wickedness, those authorities in high places. People are just puppets to spirits, and they're doing their bidding, And so the way we need to respond as Christians is to, break that cycle with love. Love is a weapon of ours, because we're we should be the only people who really know how to enact this spiritual quality. Because if you have the Spirit of God in you, you've known what love is for the first time, and it stays with you, right? I didn't know what love was before I had the Holy Spirit. I knew what it should be because I'm made in the image of God, but I didn't hold to it, and also I didn't have that quality in me. All I knew was, I don't know, aggression and revenge and pride and this kind of pseudo love. But that's what real love is. And it's not this false, trying to persuade yourself that these people really aren't as good as you, are as good as you or something, you really have to think of them as better than yourselves, you know. And yes, I do understand that there's some kind of reaction when someone is kind of persecuting you and giving you grief. But if you try and remember where they came from, I mean, it applies to any criminal, really. You know, even the worst murderer or, I don't know, drug dealer, or even something as bad as a paedophile, you know, that person used to be a tiny little child who didn't know right or wrong, and somehow they've come to this point where they are, let's go in here. They've come to that point where they are criminals. And yeah, we're in BDS. They've come to that point where they're criminals and they've done evil against God. And by all means, they should be punished. But Judgment Day isn't here yet. And how many testimonies have you seen of people coming out of that kind of lifestyle and being redeemed? And then they become the best Christians ever. I mean, I know someone like that, right? It's just when we think the best of other people, we give them a chance. This is the ladies' bathroom. Doing some work. We give them a chance, and it's a chance that everybody deserves, because when people see love and grace in you, it makes it a lot more attractive for them. You know, when people respond to you in hate and wickedness because you're a Christian, and then you respond to them in grace and mercy and thinking the best of them, it breaks that cycle of hatred. All of a sudden that person is thinking, what on earth is this about? You know, I want this. It's a testimony to them. When we think the best of other people, no matter what they've done, it really it gives them the respect that they don't deserve, and that's exactly what Christ did for us. He respects us. He respects our decisions. He respects our wickedness. He doesn't respect the actual wickedness, but he respects us even though we're wicked. And, you know, he died for us while we were still sinners, while we were his enemies, right? That's the attitude that we need to have. And when we do, it's not only for them, it's for us. It releases us. It's a burden that we no longer have to carry. It's on Christ. He's going to be the judge of the world. And he knows everything that's going on in everybody's lives. He knows what brought them to that point. And it's not for us to get involved in that kind of way, you know. All we are to do is remember where we've come from, which is a place of wickedness and sin. And remember that other people are there too. And even when we're a Christian and other people are a Christian and we're kind of battling against each other as Christians, which is so often the case, isn't it? We always must be mindful of this, that we still need to love each other as Christ loved the church, and just remember that just to remind ourselves continually that we must think of others as better than ourselves. It keeps us in a humble place, and it also, I mean, you can be assertive with your opinion, especially if it's godly, but if you always think the best of someone, you are putting yourself in a position that is eternally forgiving. You're always a merciful. You've mastered mercy when you've done that, when you do that continually, because that's how to love people, is to think of them as better than yourselves. The human problem, well, the angelic problem as well, is pride. Pride is the last one to go. Pride is so wicked. It's before all the others go, pride will still be there. You know, you could have a strong man like Jezebel or Leviathan, or some other like habit that you've had all your life, whatever. But when it comes to pride, that when that goes, you're raising the dead and walking on water and stuff like that, because pride is the main root, it's the main spirit that causes the human condition. And so it's in combat to that spirit when you have this attitude that people, you know, thinking of people that as better than yourselves, and kind of thinking the best of people, even when they don't deserve it. So I hope you receive something from that word. This is where we're staying at the moment. These are the cabins at BDS. It's a beautiful morning here. It's about 7 o'clock. Nice and warm. Anyway, God bless you. Love you all.